Hello everyone, how you doing today? Been a little while since I did a video, a good week now. I think the last video I did was last week Monday, and I thought I would get some updates out there. With all the things going on in the world right now, I haven't been doing a lot of Empyrion building this last week. I do want to get back into it though. I'm missing it. But yeah, I guess I've been thinking about other things and I've been kind of actually stocking up on food and things like that. I'm not sure what's exactly going to happen in the country I live in. Uh, from a lot of research and things, it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to go well. So I'm keeping close tabs on that, and also kind of worried about my folks who are both in their 70s. One with a pre-existing condition, and it could be kind of scary. So I've been not focused a lot on Imperium this last week. So I just wanted to apologize for that. But I did want to get another video out, show you some updates, show you what I've been kind of working on. The little bit that I have been working on it this last week. Start with, I did kind of finish up and detail the body of the Creole starter CV, and I think it's in better shape now. On the last video, I was kind of trying to dress up this front area some more. I did a little bit more of that in other places of the ship as well, and I think the body is kind of mostly done, but I'm seeing flaws, like right here. I've got a area that's not colored correctly. There's things like that all over the place yet, so it's still getting kind of worked out. Oh, I gotta make sure I color it the right color too. Yeah, but next up on this is getting the interior all done up on it, and the big part of that is going to be trying to fit in the major parts, such as a shield, um, warp core, and all this other fun stuff. So it's not a big space, so I don't think it will take a huge amount of time, but it's going to be a little tricky. I've been kind of like looking in here trying to figure out, well, where am I going to put this warp core, and where am I going to put the shield, and so on. And it shouldn't be too bad. Of course, I'd like to get a little farm in here somewhere as well. And then, keep tabs on the CPU and see where it's going to be at. Of course, I'm trying to keep this a CPU tier 2, hopefully with a shield. We'll see if yeah, I think that can be done. And then keep a lot of stuff set up for upgrading to a tier 3. Such as like what you see now with like all the mining turrets on here. They actually won't be here stock, but I just want to make sure that they're set up to be placed after the fact. This other ship, this is I'm just kind of briefly calling it a Creole gunship right now. This is a CV as well, but it's different than the CVs that I've typically made in a couple regards. One is the fact that this one does not have a hangar, so it's not of the standard format that I would typically do a CV in. And the idea behind this one is that it would be more of a combat ship, possibly used by the AI as a faction ship, but also have like a player version of it. So this one doesn't have docking capacity. Now that's something I don't normally like to do. I like to have all the CVs have usually quite a bit of docking capacity if I can, but this one's different. And I like that idea in some regards too, because it's given me a lot of flexibility on what I can do with the body on it. I can do design choices I wouldn't have normally done, because I'm always trying to increase docking capacity, such as landing pads and things on the tops of ships. So this one doesn't have that, nor does it have a big gaping hangar door on the back of it. Simply only has a entry door. So I am kind of excited about this ship. It's a little bit different, but it's going to have like a different role. This one's going to be kind of obviously a combat ship. I'm going to try to even get more weaponry on it. It's fairly small, comparatively speaking to a lot of other CVs that I've made, but it is, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I want it to be pretty fierce. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, the front cockpit here, this is pretty weak. The glass is not very strong. And this is one of its big functions is it will have a secure bridge inside the ship. So you can be out of harm's way taking a lot of fire on the front. Now, of course, I like to have a first-person cockpit as well. I don't really like to make things that don't have a first-person cockpit. I've only made a couple creations so far that haven't, and they've both been some form of tank. And that would be the MCRN Ballista and the Anubis AT tank that was made quite a long time ago. Those are the only two that I made that don't have some kind of first-person view. So anyway, so those are kind of coming along. I do plan on working on this stuff a lot more this week, and I would like to get another tutorial out, getting into some shaping combined with texturing and things like that. So that's probably going to be taking place pretty soon as well. So up in the sky here we have the space carrier or super carrier or whatever you want to call it. It's biggest creation I ever tried to make in conjunction with a whole lot of other authors doing different areas on the interior. I have been here and there working on other room sections inside of here, and I'm also trying to optimize this ship. In some cases I do have to remove some lights and things put in by other authors. I'm trying to minimize the amount of lights that are actually in here, but enhance the ones that are there to make them possibly have larger areas and things like that. And also some of the detail items, I'm trying to reduce those some as well, but not to the point where I throw everything off. Basically, I just want this to have good frame rates. Well, the best frame rate I can have it do being the size that it is. And it is a very, very large ship, comparatively speaking to any of the other CVs that I've made before, or most CVs on the workshop are quite a bit smaller than this. I mean, there are some really big ones out there. And in the process of what I've done so far in optimizing things and kind of tweaking stuff, I have reduced the size class actually by I think a size class or two on it. But in the end, that's not going to matter a lot because it's a very high size class ship. Sitting at 47 right now. I think it was at one point in time 49, but I've been trying to tweak things out as well as get some more areas done up in the ship. Now, I did some of this stuff last week, going through a lot of these different oddball rooms off the side of the hangar that typically don't have very good space to do anything terribly fun with. And I'm also trying to keep the costs lower in some of these areas. So yeah, I'm putting stuff in here that was needed, such as air tanks. Its ship now has a little bit more than enough air tanks to actually fill the entire ship with air. And this was something I've never actually run into before. Taking a look here at the current oxygen tanks, we have 78 in the ship, and it has about 10% more than needed currently to fill the ship with oxygen. So it's going to need more yet, but in these oddball places that it's kind of troubling to figure out what you're actually going to do with some of these rooms. I've been trying to squeeze in more and more oxygen tanks, and I actually have some extra room slotted in places to add some more of these oxygen tanks in there too, because I really feel it's going to need more than 10% over the what's needed just to fill the ship one time. I'd like it to last quite a while once you're out and about. So, yep, this is going to be a priority as well. And I'm running really behind on obviously all the plans I was looking to do. As in this week, my goal is to get this ship finished and released hopefully this weekend. This Creole Starter CV, yet without a name. I usually don't like to name things until I'm just about done with it. I might think of some ideas, but not sure yet on what to call this one. Also, Excalibur's challenge, building a miner. Yeah, I'll put together another miner. I'm not sure exactly what to do though. I've built a lot of miners already in the past. The MCRN miner is the most recent, and I think that one was trying to be as cheap as possible with as most amount of storage and be a tier 1. So if I do another miner, I want to mix it up a little bit because I don't want to build the same thing again. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe I will make an attempt to build a combat miner again. I've messed with that one time in the past, and it's an unreleased miner that I had. But the problem with some of the miners that I run into is to make them really work well as a miner. They typically you want them pretty small. You don't want to have a lot of deco blocks or anything like that that would stick out or block row past where the mining drills are and things like that, because it causes you a lot of times to get stuck in mining holes, and that's usually not cool. Hold on, I apologize. I'm looking for my miner here just so I can show you what I had in the past. Maybe I ought to look under HVs. That could help. What did I call this thing? I think I called it a scarab something or other. Proto HRC HL1 loader. Yeah, there's been a lot of scarab. All the scarabs are miners essentially. When I came up with a naming scheme, I just started calling them all scarabs and changed their model number essentially. I think it's this guy. Yeah, the MV1. This is the one that I never did release. In my opinion of the miners I've made, this is probably the prettiest of them, but unfortunately, pretty doesn't make a good miner. This one was trying some unusual ideas, fitting a lot of turrets into the inner portions of the miner to try to keep it less prone to getting stuck inside of mining tunnels. But this has a couple flaws to the entire design. Basically, these drills here should be the outermost part of the miner, and on the bottom you can see that there's a row below the drills. Same thing going on with my extra deco blocks on the side over here, and well, some top mounting landing gear on the top of the miner. So all those things kind of play a role, and being a larger bore pattern to start with, effectively speaking, as a miner, it doesn't work as well as like the little MCRN one I put out, which is also a lot cheaper and a tier 1. So that's a little bit troubling when you're building a miner. It's like, I'm not sure exactly what else I would want to do for a miner. I don't know if this idea of trying to have like a more battle-hardened miner is a good idea, because typically everything gets in the way of mining. That's why I kept the other one so minimalist and simple, as I didn't want to repeat the problems that I had on this one, and that's why I never released this one, is because I personally don't think it's that good of a miner for being specifically a miner. However, it's got quite a bit more guns. It could sort of hold its own, I guess, in a fight, depending on what it's fighting. But you never know. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. I just want to get a video out and update things, and I'm going to try to start jamming on stuff this week again. I think I got other priorities and caught up in real life and things like that, and can probably start to focus on things that are fun again, because not much else has been very fun, put it that way. So anyway, you all have yourself a good day. I hope you enjoy this. I apologize I didn't show much today. Didn't have a whole lot to show. And I also apologize for the lack of videos over the last week. But that's just kind of, I'm concerned about things on the news, concerned about the family, been watching the spread of this nasty little virus that's running around, and not feeling very hopeful that we'll be in good shape in coming weeks and months over here in the United States. So there you go, and you all have a good day. See you later.